Hey everybody, Mark Swets here at NPTA with Kingsley Shannon, Chief Commercial Officer at Pixelle Specialty Solutions. Kingsley, welcome to NPTA PaperChain Chat.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me.
Certainly. And welcome back to the industry. Obviously,
Thanks.
heard the news about 6 months ago that you joined Pixelle as CCO. And, the paper industry has a unique way of keeping people close. So
That's
you want to
true.
tell us kind of your story back into the paper industry?
Yeah, sure. So I joined the paper industry, gosh, it was probably about 15 years ago, coming from the B2C world, where I started my career out of college and joined Nina actually out of the gate, heading up their marketing organization, and then moved on once we became Mativ. And even before then, when we merged with SWM and was president of their paper and packaging division. From there, I left and went to Graphic Packaging International and spent about a year and a half with them, focused on 17 plants that really serviced the food side of their food and beverage division in the Americas. So had all those big CPG food brands and customers, which was a lot of fun. And then Julie Schertel, who you know is our CEO at Pixelle and was the former CEO of Mativ, gave me a call last fall as she joined Pixelle and wanted to see if I wanted to come over and work with her as the organization has really been going through some pretty significant transition and change. And so I was excited to be able to be asked to come and be with the organization at such an interesting time and to really help to work with Julie and the broader Pixelle team to charter what our new path is as we move forward as the new Pixelle.
Yeah. So that was about, gosh, half a year ago. And
October, yeah. So we're just hitting the 6 month mark, which is hard to
yeah,
believe. It's gone by very fast.
well, and there's so much going on in the industry and the
Yes.
world and within the company. So what have you all accomplished in 6 months that you're kind of most proud of?
Yeah, when we joined, the organization was coming off of a pretty significant transition. So they sold the Stevens Point facility and then they shut down the Chillicothe facility in Ohio. So there was a large amount of business that either was going with the sale or we were transitioning out of, or we were moving to what is now the corporate office in Spring Grove, Pennsylvania. So when Julie and I joined, it was kind of as we were trying to finalize transition of all of the grades into a single facility. And it's been a bit of a transition to say the least. So, we were fitting a lot of grades into a smaller footprint. I think some of our, supply chain challenges were just that. And so as we've come on board, we really try to kind of settle down the organization, get our transitions behind us. And really, the first 6 months of the year, we've been spending a significant amount of money on some capital investments in Spring Grove, just to really, position it to be the future, flagship location for Pixelle, but both from a headquarters standpoint as well as a manufacturing standpoint. And then most recently, over the last couple of months, I've been working with the team. And in fact, I just had a conversation this morning with one of the groups, and we're really basically redefining the category strategy and the Pixelle brand as we move forward into the future. So that work is underway. We're doing category strategies on every category that we currently participate in. And we're really trying to define for ourselves and for the broader industry, what are our tent poles? What do we really stand for as the new Pixelle? We might be smaller, but we're still very, important and strategic, I believe, to the industry. And to be able to come and kind of share with our partners in the market, probably within the next 60 days or so. We'll do a sneak peek, if you will, at Paper Meets Live. But that work will really be done this summer. And so it's a really fun time to be a part of Excel. There's a lot of change, a lot of settling down from a pretty big transition. And the team has been absolutely fantastic. I couldn't ask for better folks to work with. They're just really, really great people.
Good. Well, that's exciting times over there. And certainly you and Julie both have experience in, kind of transitions, especially with kind of your roles at Nina Mativ. So exciting to see how the Pixelle story unfolds.
Yes, it's very exciting.
And great to reconnect with you both at PDC earlier
Yeah,
this year. So
you as
you
well.
you mentioned Paper Meets, yeah, coming up. We're less than a month away. We'll be in Clearwater. So I'm interested to hear from you. What is Pixel's approach to an event like Paper Meets? You've got all these customers. You've got really the whole industry there over the course of a week, and with so much change going on, how do you approach the event?
Yeah, so I love events like PDC or Paper Meets because it is a great opportunity to connect with all of our partners in one, session with over several days. And so how we really approach it is trying to make sure that we're, setting up meetings with all of our strategic partners that are there, and we'll have a custom agenda based on the collective business that we have with one another. So there'll be topics that are certainly specific to our relationship or things in our initiatives that we have going on, but it also is a time for our partners to share what is really top of mind for them, what strategic focus areas that they have that we need to, make sure that we're continuing to partner around. And then for us this year, it'll be really great to be able to start talking about what the new Pixel is transforming to look like. So to be able to do that in a couple of days, collectively together without all being on airplanes flying all over the country to meet in that way is really fantastic. And then I love, and it's really unique to our industry, I love the opportunity to just be able to talk to folks in the industry with even our peers on what's happening in their neck of the woods. And it's really surprising the relationships that you build in the paper and packaging industry over these years. It's not something that I've seen in other industries that I've been a part of before I moved over to paper and packaging. And just the collaborative conversation and thinking through things and talking about what's happening in obviously a way that's not nefarious in any way, but there's a lot of challenges that we've all gone through as an industry post COVID, supply chain challenges. I mean, we're going through it right now with all the geopolitical things that are happening, and just trying to work through that and have true partners that you build these relationships with these environments over the years is just really something special.
It is, and really the tight knit community that makes up the paper industry is pretty unique and really positions us to take on those challenges because there
Mhm.
certainly is no shortage of challenges these days.
That is the truth.
And paper meets, it's kind of a marathon week. I hear from many of you that from the moment you get off the plane until you get on the plane to return, it's nonstop. It's a pretty busy week. What do you do yours personally to like pace yourself?
Yeah, you just kind of prepare that it's going to be a marathon. You also, I think, just being really prepared. That's really something that's really important to me. Is it's not a time to show up and just kind of be ad hoc. Everyone's there trying to go from meeting to meeting to meeting and trying to make it as value add as we possibly can during the time. Actually get energized despite it being a long few days, just because we're able to really get a lot of conversations at once, and I love that because you'll be able to see really themes that come out kind of collectively as you're going through each day. But you just kind of you hunker down. It's going to be a few long days, but that they're going to be really valuable days. And so I would much rather spend my time that way, where I know I'm going to leave learning a lot of different things, and we'll have big action items, I'm sure, that will come out of it after having a lot of these conversations.
Yeah. I hope the change in schedule, this event previously was in September, moved to May now, um, probably shifts the focus a little bit to more of maybe a mid-year conversation and, what's
Sure.
going on. There's still time to adjust during the course, whereas in September, it was more of kind of year-end planning and planning for the next year. So I'll be interested to hear from the collective group on how the tone of those conversations change.
Sure. Yeah.
And of course, you've been around long enough when prior to Paper Meets Live, this event was Paper Week for many years
Yeah.
in New York and Chicago and some other locations. Um, what sticks in your mind after attending events like this over the years? Do you have any stories in particular you'd like to share?
I haven't, this will be my first one with Pixelle. So I don't have one to share from a Pixelle vantage point, but I will say, having gone to many, many paper weeks when I was with Nina and Madhav, what I really loved is there's a lot of just really great traditions. And so, like with Nina, as an example, we would have, a certain dinner with a certain customer always on Tuesday night. And then on Wednesday night, we would have an event where we would actually bring lots of different customers together in one location, and we called it the Independence Dinner. And even though everyone is maybe competitors by day, they were really collaborators and friends by night, and that was always a really special event that we always tried to make really fun. And then what I also love, which we still obviously do at Paper Meets Live, is the Stanley O. Styles Award. It's just so fun to be able to see folks that have just been around and have made such an impact on the paper and packaging industry, to be able to be honored in that way. I really love that. So what I love is all the tradition. There's just a lot of great tradition within the industry. I think it's evolved as the world has changed and the industry has grown and needs to evolve. But there's just some things about Paper Week that are still in Paper Meets Live that I really love. And a lot of it is just the traditions that folks have within different partnerships and with one another.
And so much tradition. And of course, Stanley Styles is one of the highlights of that, to get everybody in the industry in one room during the luncheon and celebrate the achievements of one particular person who's
Hmm.
contributed so much is special. And certainly this year, Bill Garvey,
Bill
Athens
Garvey.
Paper, put
Yeah.
a plug, and look forward to celebrating him in a month in Clearwater. Yeah.
Really,
So
really excited for Bill. It's very, very well deserved.
yeah, it is. So Kingsley, you prior to kind of leaving Nina Madev, you previously served on NPTA's leadership as a board member.
Yep.
Certainly been around the organization for many years. What has NPTA done for you, like personally or professionally?
Yeah, I think it's really helped to give me a broader vantage point of the industry by being able to work on a board with folks that are working through some similar, some different challenges and situations. Certainly a lot of different dynamics within the industry, whether it's, sustainability related or, macros or supply chain challenges. So what I've really enjoyed is being able to be with, a small group of industry leaders that have been able to really talk about what does the industry need to talk about? What's most relevant? Bringing some of those speakers to PDC as an example, sharing some of those insights, doing research studies, if we need to. So that really to me has been very valuable and very value add to be able to be a part of the industry in that way. And I've really gained a lot. And built great relationships. It's been, I've gotten to know people that I might not have normally gotten to know just by being a part of the board for a few years that I was before I left for like a hot minute and then came back. So that's been really, really great for me.
Well, we're happy to have you back, Kingsley, and I'm sure Pixelle is happy to have you on board with them. Anything else you want to add before we close?
No, I'm just really excited to be meeting up with everyone here in a few short weeks and getting Paper Meets Live underway. It's really fun to be back in the industry. It's funny. It feels almost like coming home, which I think is funny to say about a industry that people work in. And so I'm happy to be back and I'm happy to be meeting up with the folks here in the next couple of weeks.
Terrific. Well, we look forward to seeing you in Clearwater.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Kingsley.
All right, thanks, Mark.